Hi everybody, I am Tim Newton from the Krannert School, joined today by Chris Hodges. Chris is the founder and CEO of GoGig, which we're going to talk about in just a little bit. But Chris, I want to talk about why you went the entrepreneurial route, came here to Purdue, got your bachelor's degree in management. Was that the plan all along, to be a big-time entrepreneur?
It actually wasn't. I initially wanted to climb the corporate ladder, and my dad was somebody I kind of wanted to follow in his footsteps. He worked 42 years at Ford Motor Company, sort of started at the bottom and made his way up, and eventually had a successful career. So I had initially thought, business school was that right path. I wanted to make my own path, but use that as a good use case. Somewhere along the way, out of my first job out of school, I figured out that I was pretty good at selling things. Went to a medium-sized company out of Kalamazoo, Michigan, selling B2B software. Very low base salary compared to that of my friends, but we had uncapped commission, and I sold a pretty hefty amount of software that I didn't know whether or not it performed or not in my first year, and had gotten connected with a prepaid wireless company out of Irvine, California, that I eventually jumped on with and started as their first executive hire. And I saw what the pathway looked like for entrepreneurial success, and going through an exit and seeing how founders grind it out when they're not profitable and didn't raise any money and bootstrap the entire thing. And after that exit, I went back and decided it was something that I wanted to do. I just enjoyed that roller coaster, if you will. So that's how I kind of got thrown on that path.
Would you consider yourself to be a high risk taker? Because a lot of times you talk to entrepreneurs and they're very they head toward risk instead of being risk averse. How do you find yourself on that continuum?
Yeah, if entrepreneurship didn't exist, I'd probably be at a craps table.
So I'm going to go with high risk, because there's a reason casinos are really big.
Yeah,
people don't win there very often.
No, they say 48%, but I don't think that number's right. So yeah, I am a pretty big risk taker. I'm glad that I had the opportunity to start and learn about that early on in my career, when I didn't have a lot of strings attached to my life, where I people that were reliant on me for stability, because stability is definitely something that you don't get.
What's the most important trait that you think an entrepreneur needs to have?
The ability to sell. Absolutely. So because whether or not you think that you are, and it's not always closing contracts. It's selling yourself, having conversations like this one where people are actually going to get value out of it. It is selling the hope and prayer of an idea with an investment deck and nothing else to raise money. It is walking around a networking event when you're in a sea of people that you probably don't want to talk to, and being able to walk up to them and have the charisma to be able to say, hello, hi, how you doing? My name is Chris. And all of those factors have the ability, you're selling something. You're selling yourself. You need to convince this individual that they want to talk to you. They need to, waste their time or use their time to speak to you, because you have the best product in the world, but if you don't have the distribution, the brand, the people using it, and the ability to sell and raise money, if that's the route you choose to go for entrepreneurship, then you're going to have a failed business pretty quick.
Talking to a lot of entrepreneurs, some of them seem to be sometimes untethered balloons. They have the ability to, or the tendency to kind of float away. You need those tethers. Who are some of the tethers, or how have you used the tethers? People around you that can give you different ideas, but also make sure that you stay on the right path.
Sure. That all kind of starts with the realization of what you're good at and what you're not. So having the ability to wake up one day, look at yourself in the mirror, and writing down on that mirror, okay, here are the 5 traits that I know that I'm tethered on. That I know if I get up in the morning, I'm going to stay on this path. I'm constantly going to use linear progression to continually get better at them, and I'm not going to deviate. But then you need to have the 20 things that you aren't good at, and you need to find somebody that is a mastermind or an advisor or somebody that can keep you level-headed, to keep you tethered, to use your words, to each of these other 20 things. And it all starts with the realization of writing those down and recognizing that you're not good at these 20 things, and then going out and finding somebody who is. It could be a co-founder. If you're bad at finances, to go get somebody that can build your pro formas for you, for maybe just some stock options. If you are you have a short temper, then maybe you should go get a workout in at 5 o'clock in the morning so you're happy the rest of the day. It doesn't always have to be a human being. It needs to be an outlet that is going to, help you, keep all of these things tied back to, one single path towards success.
You mentioned GoGig at the beginning. What is it? What does it do?
At its core, it's an anonymous professional networking platform. It's designed to help currently employed, passively seeking individuals that already have jobs advance their careers anonymously based on more of the human elements that make them up as people, as opposed to a resume or a LinkedIn profile that just doesn't tell you a whole lot about who somebody is, what makes them tick, what gets them out of bed in the morning. So what we do is in 120 seconds or less, candidates can profile themselves based on the unique characteristics that they've done in their career history, their career desires. So they could say, hey, I'm making 65K today, but I want to make 70. I live in Chicago, but I'd like to make a move to Indy. And here are all these other things I would desire to see out of my next organizational move. They anonymously put their desires and then out into the digital universe, and we classify who they are as an individual through their personality traits using our artificial intelligence engine. And it matches them culturally to an organization that might be a better fit. The candidates get to choose who they want to unveil their identities to, if and only if it's a fit for what they want. Otherwise, the platform stays quiet. There's no resumes, no job postings, no keyword searching. The candidate doesn't formally apply to anything. It's treated more like an anonymous networking app that gets your foot in the door with a real conversation at that organization.
Glad you mentioned artificial intelligence, because in the Giant Leaps campaign that's going on at Purdue, it's one of the real focus points.
Sure.
What has Purdue been able to do, or has Purdue been able to help you in this venture at all?
Quite a bit, yeah. And we mentioned a mutual friend of ours before this conversation, but tapping into Purdue University has been, at least at the later stages in the organization, has been able to help me quite a bit. Open up doors for capital resources. The Purdue Foundry has been an amazing resource that is around now. It wasn't around when I was in school, to help aspiring entrepreneurs get connected to mentors, capital, other successful entrepreneurs that can help them. And then also the fundamental curriculum that, from the early stages, learning how to do an income statement, balance sheet, and statement of cash flows using Excel is something you need to know as an entrepreneur, because you can't afford an accounting firm. So, being able to maintain your own books, it always dates back to, the curriculum, but also helping open up avenues, open up revenue pathways, open up mentorship, open up access to capital. Those are the things that Purdue has been able to provide. And they're pretty recent, actually, so I'm happy to see that the trend's going in the right direction.
The mutual friend, by the way, that Chris talked about was Rusty Roof. So Rusty, if you're watching, you owe me dinner now for the mention. What's your message today for students?
To not always, so I had a negative connotation to what at the time in Krannert was an entrepreneurship certificate. Whether or not you decide to go that path to getting an entrepreneurship certificate, at least take into consideration that that path might be a little bit more than just running a small business, but starting a high technology, company, actually understanding how to raise capital for those that aren't risk averse, that are considering path, careers in sales or maybe software engineering, that you can actually create, own, and get a product of your own lifted up off the ground in a relatively short period of time. And Purdue has access to those resources now more than ever that can help you to do that. Don't shy away from that and necessarily think that you have to go for the stable career at GE every single time. Nothing against GE, but.
Well, Chris, I'm glad we were able to keep you away from the craps tables today to bring you to campus. Thanks for sharing your insight with our students today.
I appreciate it. Thanks for the conversation, Tim.
For Chris Hodges, I'm Tim Newton.